it's Chrissy, and this week on Book World Chat, we will be discussing reading books in the middle of a series. I hope you enjoy. I know a lot of people have different opinions on whether or not you should read a book that's in the middle of a series. And I know that one of my very good book friends has a very strong opinion on that subject. So I asked her to join me for this week's Book World Chat discussion. Okay, guys, I'd like to welcome my friend Jenn from the Garden of REDen.
Hi.
So, Jenn, I've asked you to join me in this Book World Chat discussion of reading books in the middle of a series. And I know you have some strong opinions on that subject. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you, what do you think about reading a book in the middle of a series?
I think you should not do it. Do not start in the middle of a series. There's a series for a reason. Start at the beginning. The first book always sets up the tone for the rest of the series. You'll find that the first couple in the first book is pivotal to all the other books in the series. They're kind of the backbone of the books that carry throughout the series. And if you start in the middle, you're going to be spoiled at what you read in the beginning. And then you're missing out on great books that you would have experienced organically as opposed to knowing exactly how it plays out.
That's true. That's true. And I do agree with that. Where I'm coming from is, and I am going to say, we've recorded this now 4 times. This is the 4th time we've tried to record.
It feels like we've been doing this for 6 months, but you know.
It's insane. And I might actually insert a montage here of the soundless videos of us trying to get through this. So sorry. I go about looking at reading a book in the middle of a series. It's kind of like watching a movie based on a historical event. You know what the ending is, but you may not know the story before the ending, how they got to the ending. So that's right. Why I think it's okay to read a book in the middle of a series. And sometimes it makes you want to go back to the beginning of the series.
Well, sure, because you're reading a book that you love and you want more from that author, but you've ruined the series by starting in the middle. When I find a book that I want to read, and you know how picky I am about finding a book that I want to read, I will check to see if it's part of a series. And if it's, say book 4 in a series of standalones, I will go back to book 1 before I even touch book 4. I will not read out of order. Ever. And I'm not talking about series that have cliffhangers or, series that carry one book carries over to the next. I'm talking about interconnected standalones. I will not start at book 4 or book 5 or book 3 without reading book 1. I just won't do it, and you shouldn't either.
Now, what do you think about book series that are a series of complete standalones, where the couple is introduced and their story is wrapped up by the end of the book, but it's within a series from the author?
See, that's where we come into the whole interconnected standalones. Yes, they're standalones, but again, you're going to see those characters throughout the book. So if we could use, for example, Serena Bowen's Ivy Years series, you're going to get, in the first book, you get Hartley and Callahan, and you get their story. Well, Hartley and Callahan are going to carry over all the way throughout that series. You're going to see them. You're going to want to know their story. So start at the top. You can't pick up my favorite book, The Understatement of the Year, and find out. You'll see why Harkness needed a new winger. And they got a new winger in Johnny Ricker. But why? Because Bridger McCauley left the team. Why did Bridger McCauley left the team? You find that out in book 2. So you miss out on that. When you get a little surprise appearance from Bridger in book 3, you're going to love that because you know what he went through in book 2. And I feel like it's those moments, the little moments that you miss out on when you don't pick up the first few books in the series. I do. I really feel like there's little moments that authors put into books that you just completely lose out if you don't know the previous characters. Just start at the top. Start at book 1. There's so many great books out there. You'll get to book 4 or 5 or 6 or 3 or however many are in a series, but you have to start at the beginning. Take Chris and Ashley's Rock Chick series, for example. You cannot pick up book 8, Allie's story, without reading books 1 through 7. You can't. It just, you lose the whole series that way. You wasted your time. You wasted your time. You need to start at book 1.
No.
I came to you when I wanted to read a book, and I could tell it was the 3rd book in a series, and I really wanted to read just that book, and you said it totally stood alone, and I loved you, but it didn't matter. I'm going to book 1, and I'm going to start at book 1 and read through. But I needed to know.
I knew you couldn't do it.
And as long as the characters do not connect to the story in any way, then to me it's not a series. That does not make a series.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see.
So if the characters don't agree, I wouldn't call it anything. I would just call it a book standalone.
Standalone books.
Standalone books. If the characters reoccur throughout the other books, then it's a series. Here's a good example. Vi Keeland and Penelope Ward co-write together, right? Have you read any of their stuff? It's phenomenal. It's fine. I will forgive you because I love you, but it's phenomenal. Now, their books do not connect in any way except their very first book, Cocky Bastard. The couple in that, they don't reoccur in the sense that they're part of any of the other series. But for example, in Mr. Moneybags, which was their most recent, you got a 5-line snippet of the characters from the first book because they made a YouTube video. And these people found this YouTube video.
Oh, that's fun.
But you wouldn't know that had you not read Cocky Bastard.
Had you not read the first book?
Here's this great little Easter egg in this book that was already phenomenal. You get this great little Easter egg of, oh my God, and you can relate it back to the first book, and it would be completely lost on you had you not read that. And then I feel like it's a waste. Like here they wrote this great little part, and you missed out because you didn't read the first book.
Okay, I can agree with that. I can totally agree with that because my favorite author, the one that got me into reading as an adult, is Emily Giffin. Her first 2 books are connected. After that, nobody's connected unless you've read those books. Every single book up until Love the One You're With, I believe, there are Easter eggs. You will see characters from the other books pop up in just short little scenes.
Little snippets.
In every single book that are just little Easter eggs. And she did it in the movie. When they made the movie, the Something Borrowed movie, Emily Giffin is actually in the movie. She's a little Easter egg in the movie. She's sitting on the bench during one of the scenes. And I loved that. So I totally get that. You know, yes, I would have enjoyed every other book by itself. Right. But I would have missed a really cool little snippet.
Yeah. You just miss those little bits that make reading enjoyable. You do those little bits that keep you going, keep you entertained. Because let's be honest, there's only so many stories out there. You're gonna read the same story over and over again. So here's these little things that make it more. It just makes it more.
I agree, totally. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. And
you're very welcome.
I am trying to talk Jen into joining me more often for Book World Chat. Make sure you check out the Garden of REDen and tell us the name of your group again.
REDen with the Garden Girls.
REDen with the Garden Girls. I was going to say it right. I'll leave links below for you guys to check out the page in her group. Make sure you show them some love from me. And thank you so much, Jen. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Mwah. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me for this week's Book World Chat. I also want to thank my friend Jen from the Garden of REDen for joining me. If you guys enjoyed this discussion, please give it a thumbs up below. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and you can find me at KrissysMakeupNook.com or KrissysBookNook.com. See you next time. Mwah.
Shall we begin?
I had a very discussion and
Let's begin.
oh, I forgot I'm recording. Okay.
Let's begin.